Okay, do we have any coffee lovers out there? So I just posted that picture with that little tip about salt in your coffee. Isn't that crazy? So I tried it this morning. Oh, the people at the coffee shop were like, salt? Yeah, we don't have salt here. But when I came home, I put a little in my coffee, and it didn't really taste much different. But I thought it was interesting because coffee does tend to be really acidic. But usually I make my own coffee at home. This morning I just cheated and went out to coffee with a friend. So generally, most times I make my coffee at home. And a lot of times I make French press coffee. But in the summer, my husband and I love drinking cold brew coffee. And so I'm here to tell you about the Pampered Chef Cold Brew Pitcher. Here it is. So this might look familiar to some of you because we used to have something that looked a lot like this. It was yellow. And it was our infused tea pitcher. So you could do tea in it. But guys, guess what? This one does tea too. And if you just so happen to have that pitcher I'm talking about from a long time ago, all of the stuff that we have for this pitcher works in the tea pitcher. So you would just buy like this little filter separately and you could use it for your tea pitcher. So there you go. But let me tell you about cold brew because it is delicious. If you're a big fan of iced coffee, then you might really enjoy a cold brew. So, cold brew. Made it sound like I'm talking about beer, but I'm not. So anywho, cold brew pitcher. Let me tell you a little bit about it first. Okay, so this is just this little silicone sleeve. I call it its little sweater because it has little buttons, and basically it just holds onto the container. It gives you a good grip on it because it is glass, and protects your hand if it's hot too. So anyway, and it comes with this cover. It comes with 2 filters, so you can use one for tea. This is the tea one, and then this one is for coffee, okay? So cold brew is kind of like iced coffee, only it's not watered down at all. So cold brew is just cold water poured over coffee. So it's not hot coffee poured over ice or anything like that. It's just cold water poured over coffee. And the thing about cold brew is you need to let it sit for about 8 to 12 hours, okay? So that's the only thing with the cold brew. But when I tell you how I do mine, you're gonna be like, oh, I can totally do that. So iced coffee tends to be a little bit more watered down. It won't last as long because it has that ice in it and it's hot coffee. And cold brew is actually less acidic too because heat extracts acid out of coffee. So that's why it tastes more acidic, or it might be harder on your stomach too. But cold brew is a lot smoother. It's richer. The flavor is just really nice. So I think you guys will enjoy it. It's kind of expensive in the stores. If you've seen it, it's kind of all the rage lately. You can purchase it, at any coffee shop really, and then you can purchase that like Costco or the grocery stores and stuff. And now they have something called Nitro Cold Brew, which by the way is really good. So anyway, the cold brew pitcher, it will save you a lot of money to make your coffee at home, like any coffee maker will, right? So really easy to use. You take 1 cup of coarsely ground coffee, and you do want to make sure it's coarsely ground, okay? So it's just a coarser ground, so it's bigger pieces, okay? So I bought a coffee grinder that has settings on it for fine, medium, and coarse. So because I just buy my pounds of hot coffee, or you can get them your coffee at the store and just grind it right at the store. You can grind it for a French press, or sometimes they have that coarse setting on there. Most of them do, so you should be fine with that. But basically, you just fill this thing up. So it is 1 cup, but basically that's 1 cup, okay? So you put it inside here, and then take 5 cups of cold water, and you're gonna pour it right on top, and it's gonna filter through. And then you're just gonna leave this on your countertop or in the refrigerator for 8 to 12 hours. So what I do is I always start this in the evening time. I let it sit overnight, and then I pour it into another container, and then I just keep that container in my fridge, and I constantly keep a batch going every single night. Now this can last up into in your fridge for like 5 days, so I mean it'll go a lot faster than that, and it is concentrated. Okay, so depending on how strong you like your coffee, you can actually add water to the coffee after it steeps for that 8 to 12 hours. Okay. You can also do your tea in here, hot tea or cold tea. And then I recently learned that you can infuse like wine. So I took a bunch of strawberries and a green tea bag and a lemon, and I stuck it all in here. And then I poured a bottle of Moscato over it and just let it sit for like an hour or 2 delicious. It was so good. And you can even do infused water, all sorts of stuff. So you can get really creative with this. But anyway, so I just wanted to tell you a little bit about the cold brew and how fun it is. So if you're a big coffee drinker and you have any questions about this, just let me know.